Ooh.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to the first installment of the sports show with you guys, but the second episode overall of the wrestling podcast. It's not even a podcast anymore now. We're calling this a wrestling show. Basically, what we've tried to do is constantly change. We want to be known as a sports show where we cover all different kinds of sport. On Mondays, we will be doing and releasing a Reading Football Club show as well. So come and check that out. Tuesdays, it is me and Mr. Ali here talking all things wrestling. All things WWE, NXT, AEW, anything that we find interesting that we would like to talk about, we're going to go through it. Wednesdays, we will be discussing F1, talking especially this week about Lewis Hamilton, him becoming the GOAT of all GOATs. Talking about that tomorrow. Thursday, we are doing the first ever as well. We're doing the first ever Formula One proper show tomorrow when you guys listen to this, and the first ever proper show of the NFL, where I have three other people that are going to sit down with me, and we're going to go through some of the things why they support and what they do, and we're going to get a little bit of talking about the season so far, but we're not going to go too much into it because there's
Mhm.
so much more to discuss as we got everything going on. And then Fridays for you guys will be the Reading FC build up to the game, the big game this weekend against Bournemouth. That will be on Sky Sports for everyone to watch it. And we will build up to any of the Premier League action or anything else that happens this weekend as well. But let's get into it. Hello, how are you?
Man, I'm all good yourself.
Yeah, I'm all good. I'm all good. Um, I haven't told you this. This is gonna spring a surprise on you. I was digging around in my wardrobe right the other day
All right.
because the missus told me to, and I found this. Right, I brought this when I was 12, maybe 13.
Okay.
I found
Well,
this, and I don't know why I did it. I don't know whether you lot will be able to see, but I wrote my last name in there. So if anyone ever tries to, there you go. If anyone
is that
tries to,
permanent? Is
yeah,
that
that's
permanent
permanent.
marker?
Yeah, that was. You can't even rub
Yeah.
that out. So I always have to hold the title.
It's
Um,
a good thing you spelled it right then. God.
yeah, I probably got my mum to do that because I was a bit of an idiot back then. But
Yeah.
so I'm going to use this. I'm gonna do it like the Fiend does. No, I'm joking. But we're gonna use this title as a little jokey thing for what we're gonna be doing later on. But let's get into the first bit of news, and probably the main talking point that's been happening since Friday. I think it happened the day of SmackDown. Zelina Vega.
Yep.
Oh, this is gonna. I
Man,
I
I
was
don't know if you
shocked.
I don't know if you saw me on Twitter, but I was getting into some interesting discussions with some people about that
Hmm.
because the way I said that what I said was that you know I wasn't trying to say in a bad way, but what I simply said was that it's still early days. What's happened, you know, they can always still make another negotiation at some point and re-sign her at any time if
Hmm.
when things change. And the minute I said that, oh, you can't imagine how many people had to go at me for that. Oh, she's not going to go back. Oh, why would she want to go back to that company? Oh, and this and that. One guy kept calling me a dumbass for no reason, and I was just like, "You guys not? Are you guys new to this or something?" There's been so many people that have had fallouts with the company over the years, and they've all come back like nothing happened after a while. I'm not saying it's gonna happen instantly, but I'm saying she could always come back at in the future. That's all I was saying.
Mm.
Just
I think
right
it's
now,
I
what's
think it's a
happened?
very
Yeah.
interesting fact. I read up on some of the articles and some of the stuff that people were saying about her release, and basically she was making more money off her Twitch streams than she was on her own WWE contract. And for I think Vince or whoever, probably Vince. I'm gonna go with Vince
Who
because
knows?
it would definitely be Vince's probably main idea to do it. Was for you to take that type of money away from someone, you're going to have to either renegotiate their contract and go, right, we're taking this away from you, and we know that you get a lot of it. How about instead of being what Vince does, and Vince does so well, try and piss everyone off so quickly? Why does he not just go, right, okay, think about it logically. I don't want you guys to have a third party ownership. Okay, fair enough. They're going to make more money outside. Okay, fair enough. Why not supplement that? Why not maybe up their contract, give a little bit of benefits? If you do this for us, we'll give you this.
Mm.
I
No,
don't.
I agree.
I don't understand what. That was one of the strange things that I found.
I mean, I think they could. I think it's more to do with the fact she's making it under their name, under her WWE name, instead of under the name Rhea Trinidad, Budgeon as a real name would be now, because she's married to Tommy and Alistair Black.
Tommy at the end.
But yeah, so I'm thinking that it's really just to do with the fact that she's doing it underneath her WWE name. If she was doing it under her real name, I don't think they'd be complaining as much about it. They still would. I mean, they still probably can complain, but I'm saying that because it's under the WWE's name, she's done it. That's why I think they weren't too happy about it. Because the thing I think people forget instantly was that there were so many reports, and I mean, excuse me, there were so many reports for some time going that that Vince in particular was even happy with her as a manager. That he was, super, that he was high on her, and he was, getting, behind, her and Andrade not long ago, because he was. It's very rare we ever see a manager and unless you're Paul Heyman, it's very rare we ever see a manager role, get over the way that she got over with Andrade at that time. So
I think if you look at managers, let's talk about her as a manager. If you think about her as a manager, she's probably the best heel manager since Vicky Guerrero.
I never really thought Vicky as a good manager, to be honest. But I mean, she
was one of those that I think if you think Vicky Guerrero was a brilliant manager when she was with Edge. When she was with Edge,
I'm saying she got heat, but in my opinion, she wasn't that great. Like all she had to do was just say one word, and the crowd, I'm saying, and then the crowd would go crazy for her. But aside from that, I don't really think of her as that memorable as a manager. I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm just saying that she never really stuck out to me as that. I mean, she was more, just there to get heat for the team rather than, what I'm trying to say. I think,
and she did it perfectly.
And she did it perfectly, but I'm saying that a lot of the guys really didn't only needed it for that. They could do the rest of the talk themselves. She was just there to, add the fire for it. That was all, I'm trying to say.
Okay, then. So I think the other thing was that she said that she wasn't doing it anymore, but then she opened up an OnlyFans account.
Well, you see, that's on her as well. You see, she basically lied to the company, isn't it? In sort of time. So that's another thing which people are missing out on. So, it's not like, I'm not trying to say that she got what she deserved. I'm saying that she kind of made it not, put herself in that spot as well.
Yeah.
People are missing out on.
Right, let's move on to NXT. We'll get into. I've seen that you want to put down about a storyline and Friday Night SmackDown, and we'll get into that. But let's get into NXT. Leon Ruff, the new NXT North American champion.
Oh man. Thank my guy for that one.
Absolutely love this storyline, by the way. I think this is I think this is right. So for me, this is going to bring Damian Priest. See, Damian Priest is always for me, and I know you love him, so I'm gonna be honest with you of what I think about him. I think he's a very good heel, a very good bad guy, big bad guy that will do any way to win. We've now got Johnny Gargano, who I think personally is his heel run is brilliant. I think the way his comic timing for some of the stuff that he does is so good. Some of the time, not all the time, but some of the stuff he done, especially I think is done very well. What I think about this storyline, if they do this the way that I think they should do it, which I think Damian Priest will always be the backup and help Leon Ruff against Gargano when Gargano goes to attack him. And then when it comes down to Gargano's gone and Priest versus Ruff happens, I think Ruff should win. The only reason I say that is because then it becomes like the student or someone that's protected him and done stuff has now overcome that person. And then Priest can then go back to the hill where he will get anything and do anything to win. And I think then that's when he will claim the North American Championship back. Unless they do another switcheroo next coming Wednesday. I don't know. But what are you... That's how I think about this. I think it's... and it also plays onto it that Gargano has never defended a title successfully in NXT as well. And it also plays onto that string as well. And I think it's excellent.
I mean, I was going to say that... because I you know, I struggle to keep up with not keep on the show, but you know, whenever I plan to watch, I always manage to fail it and miss it and see a spoiler. When I saw that, I was like, wait, what the hell is that
Yeah.
again? And so when I saw what actually happened, I when I saw how the match went down, and like when I saw Priest was there, I was like, oh, I see what's gonna happen. And obviously, it went down as I thought it would, and I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. I mean, it wasn't the you know what I'm trying to say. I will say I'm not too sure how I feel about Leon Ruff. I know that he was a big star over on Evolve. Well, not a big star, but he was popular on Evolve. And obviously they've used him as enhancement talent for some time. I remember he was in the Ring of Cross not long ago, and a few others as well. I think Ciampa as well might have been one of them. Yeah, I mean, for him to get the opportunity again, I think it's great as well. I guess I wouldn't say he would be my first pick to take the title off Gargano,
But don't you think that's the perfect? Don't you think that's the exact reason why they did it? Was because if you had someone that was good enough to beat Gargano, like or anyone else, you got Bronson Reed, who I think is going to be a massive star in
yeah,
NXT.
100%.
But if you get someone like him beating it, you won't need Damian Priest's help. You wouldn't
Yeah,
need
I know
Priest.
what you're saying. I
You know
agree
what I
with
mean?
that myself personally, but I think it's a bit. I think it's one of those things which I think can be a little bit. Like, I don't know why I keep thinking the whole. Remember when James Ellsworth was feuding with AJ Styles?
I love that.
And he had it when he had Ambrose, Moxley at the time, and helping him out. I think it's just one of those situations which can get a little bit, which can draw out at some point. But I think I found it funny. I found it funny when he put the title around him and it fell down.
Yeah,
And
it didn't even fit around his waist. I thought that was
that's just
hilarious. I thought that was absolutely brilliant.
it's crazy.
Especially Priest's face as well when he did it. He just couldn't stop
Yeah,
laughing. You could just see his
it's
character broke, and you could see
yeah, man.
just
Yeah.
like, and then Priest just broke. And I
I
thought
think,
that's brilliant.
honestly speaking, though, to me, I think Priest should really be out of NXT at this point because I think he should be on the main roster on SmackDown, particularly. But I think they can still milk him out on NXT while he's still there because I think he's only 38. Yeah, I think he's only 38 at the moment. I think he just. Oh wait, no, he's 39. I think right now, so he's still fairly young. I think have a few more months in NXT before moving on to SmackDown. But yeah, what I'm going to say is that I think that he can have a few good few. I think he can still have a few good feuds over on NXT. I'll be honest with you, Gargano. At first, I was behind him as a heel, and I don't know. I find him entertaining, but I'm also getting a bit bored at the same time with the usual stick with him. If that makes sense, because it's just like he's a lot. I know he's trying to be. I know he's doing the funny but not funny thing, but it's just like even I get a little bit. I get I'm trying to say I just kind of lose interest after a bit because I know what's going to happen next with him. But he's still a good wrestler. But I just think the way I see it is compared as an entertainer. To me, I'll always say Ciampa's better than him on that one. I'll always say Ciampa was the better heel, the better baby face for that matter.
Ciampa was one of the best heels in the world when he was the heel.
In my opinion, he's a better entertainer. He was Tommy. They called him Tommy Sports Entertainer for a reason, and he pretty much ticks the boxes on that one. So yeah, what I'm saying is when it comes to what I'm saying with Gargano is I don't know. I mean, I think he's a great wrestler, but I just don't think he's a great entertainer as many people make him out to be. That's just my opinion.
Right. The one thing that I want to see with Priest and Gargano is when he's back fit, is I want to see Karen Cross.
Carrying.
I think he is. When I watched his match against, I think it was Keith Lee.
Yeah, Keith.
I think it was against Keith Lee. I watched him and I went, "That's a cross between Brock Lesnar and like a Kurt Angle." So
I'd say he's
do
more.
you understand where I'm coming from?
I'd say he's more Brock with a bit of. I don't want to say Undertaker because that's the easy, dark character kind of thing to add to it. But yeah, he basically has that dark.
It'd be good to see. I can't wait for. I think that him as when he comes back, I think he's gonna take over the company. I think he's gonna be one of those faces that even when he goes onto Raw or SmackDown, he's going to is going to be, as AJ Styles, let's say, the face that runs the place.
I think I mean, he ticks the boxes and everything, so I can see it happening, but things can always go wrong at any time. And if he gets injured, like what happened to him now, that can also put a backstop to it. But the way I always say it is, I try not to look at the possibilities of what can go wrong. I always try to always try and forget about the what can go wrong and just try and focus on what can go right if it's executed right. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So to me, when I look at a guy like a Priest, when I look at a guy like a Cross, when I look at a guy like a Ciampa, I always say that these guys are what you should be. These guys are the kind of guys I can definitely see, on the big banners. Representing the company.
And
That's
you know
the kind
what?
of thing.
And that's one of the things as well. Talking about big companies, is I was just having a quick look as well because I completely forgot her name. Was with Karen Cross. Is you have Scarlett
Oh yeah.
as well, who she plays that. Not, and I know they're husband and wife in real life as well, but in wrestling as well, her role is not only can she be the devilish heel, that the heel manager that you want, she can wrestle, and I've seen her wrestle. She can
I've
wrestle as
seen
well
some
at the
of her
same
stuff as
time.
well. Yeah. She can go hardcore. She can
So,
go hardcore in the ring.
right, let's move on
Yeah.
to the women's title: Rhea Ripley versus Io Shirai.
Okay.
Rhea, who won the first ever NXT UK title. She's the first ever winner of that before losing to Toni Storm. Won the NXT title against Shayna Baszler, if I'm right. And then she lost that title to Charlotte at WrestleMania, which I'm still a bit bitter about that.
I don't really have a big problem with that. I mean, I think that it wasn't a big loss because it wasn't. Let's be honest, it wasn't a proper WrestleMania anyway.
No, but I'm still bitter that I think Rhea should have won that.
I mean, I don't think it's really. The thing is, it's not necessarily a big loss because she didn't lose to just anyone. That's the way I see it. She lost to a big name.
But
It's
at
like,
the same time, Charlotte never really did anything with that title afterwards. That's the annoying thing with it.
there's that as well. I mean, it's a tough call on that one, but to me, I don't think it was a big loss. That's the way I always will see it.
I like
just think
Charlotte
they could
anyway. I'm not one of
I
those.
like Charlotte myself,
I like
100%.
Charlotte as well.
Yeah.
So
It's not.
you wrote
Yeah.
this down as I let you write this down on the piece of paper or the Google Doc that we use. You wanted to talk about this. I'll let you start.
Oh, great. Let me
What do you
think
want to talk about? Do you what? Because the title's Wednesday, isn't it? Is it the title match?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I think so. I'm pretty sure. I think. Honestly speaking, I think it's had a great build up to it. Io has pretty much been the girl, the woman that everyone was rooting for from day one to hold the NXT title at some point. I'll be honest with you. When I first saw Io come in, I thought she was too happy-go-lucky as a babyface, which I didn't like. I thought, I'm saying she looked too generic, basically, for my liking.
She looked like a Rey Mysterio fangirl. What I used to call it with her entrance and the way it was.
I don't know what you call it, but she just looked too. I don't. You know what I'm saying? She just looked a little bit too, easy. Easy as a babyface. So when she turned heel, that's when I took an interest in her. And obviously she became a tweener, and she is what she is now. But what I'm saying was that I remember when she started, I wasn't too sure at first. I mean, I could see the skills were there, but it was just like a typical, the usual, has the skills but not the character to go with it. I wouldn't say she's got a great character, but she's. At one point, I was actually thinking of her. Oh man, I was actually at one point. When I saw her as a heel, I was like, she's probably better than both Kyrie and Asuka at this point. That's how I thought of her.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
But what I was gonna say was that and Rhea, man, I've seen her from develop a lot over the years. I'll say the same thing with Rhea. When she turned heel, I wasn't really 100% sure on that one because I was just like, because on the time she turned heel, it was because she lost at the previous Mae Young Classic, if I'm not mistaken. And I was like, you're turning heel because you lost in that. And I was like, wait, really? And it just looked a bit like she was going with the generic, I don't like anyone, this kind of thing, and have an attitude and all that. I was just like, I'm saying it took a while for me to get behind her as a heel. But then eventually, I'm not saying I jumped on the bandwagon because I never jump on anyone's bandwagon. If you know me, it'll always be like I have to deceive myself. And sorry, I'm just trying to get my words together. So yeah, what I'm saying is that I've seen both these girls develop over the past 3-4 years, and to see Io holding the gold, and being probably one of NXT's best champions in the ages right now. I'll say she's probably in the level of Asuka right now at this point. What I like about Io is they haven't gone with the whole make her undefeated as well thing, because I think that thing can get a bit too overplayed out, and I remember when people were crying that Asuka got defeated by Charlotte Flair. I was like, did you really think they're going to keep her undefeated for 100 years? It's not going to happen, is it? So I think that they've done it right with Io, and for Rhea, I think she's built herself up well. Even post WrestleMania, she was having a great feud with Robert Stone and Aaliyah, and I remember people were saying that it's a downgrade and everything. And I was like, have you actually watched the way they're putting it together? You've got Robert Stone, who's like the funny guy, who I remember from TNA. Let me add, I remember when he was in TNA doing his thing as Robbie E, and Aaliyah, who in my opinion is underrated as a talent, gets way too much heat. And they all brought their A game in that feud, and they pretty much all made it entertaining the best they could. And Rhea didn't look like an afterthought. She looked like a star, and she shined out through it all. So, I think that's been that while she hasn't been holding the title as many people wanted to see her hold it this year, I think she still carried herself as a star and is in a safe spot. So to me, it's all built up to this point now, to the woman who people wanted to see hold the NXT title, to the other woman who also people want to see hold the NXT title. Now we can finally see them two clash.
Who do you think is going to win?
Oh man, the thing about NXT, which I like, is it's unpredictable, but at the same time, it can be predictable as well sometimes. I don't know. A part of me thinks there's going to be an interference at some point from somebody. I also think that it could also be a title change.
I think Io is going to defend it.
Huh?
I think Io is going to retain it. That's my thinking. I think something will happen to Rhea for her to lose.
I think there's going to be it's 50-50, like I said. I think there's either going to be a title change or there's going to be interference at some point, which causes either a title change or a title retain. So, right, but yeah, I think that
let's go on to my favourite thing in NXT
of course.
Now. Pat McAfee with Pete Dunne.
McAfee.
Whatever his fucking name is. Mr. Pat. I'm going to call him
respect, mate.
I'm going to call him Mr. Pat. With Pete Dunne, my man. Danny Burch, a guy that I watched an NXT UK Cambridge when I was there for the first day, on the second day, after all the recorders, where he went one-on-one with Pete Dunne, and to this day was one of the most brilliant matches I've ever seen live. It was so excellent. And Oney Lorcan, who just loves to break people's noses all the time, like he did to
Kenta. I like him.
They can be, if they do this right, I'm trying to think of ways of doing this without sounding like an absolute dickhead, right? I think Undisputed Era will always go down in history as the greatest group in NXT history. And I think that...
No doubt.
But if they do this right, and they do this the way I think they should do this, they will be up there with them. No one will go above the Undisputed Era level, because the amount of heat they can get, the amount of love they can get, and what they've done to NXT in general, no one can ever do. I don't think anyone can top what Undisputed Era did. But
you think they can do it?
Pete Dunne. All right, so my thinking behind this, what they should do and what they need to do, is Pete Dunne needs to have the NXT title, while Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch have the NXT tag titles, because how Pat McAfee, is that how you say it?
McAfee, man.
McAfee, there we go. I always get names wrong. With him, how annoying he can get, with how annoying he can get on the microphone. Imagine him holding two of the most prestigious titles in NXT. in his group.
It would be one of the most like unforeseeable things that no one ever saw coming. I'll put it that way.
I think if they did that, this storyline to when Adam Cole and all of that come back, to probably get revenge on them for what they did.
War Games. It'll be
Yeah.
a War Game to watch.
I hope they do that on War Games, and I hope fans are allowed back in at that point, because that will be absolutely epic.
Well, I doubt. Well, they've already got fans coming in for NXT anyway. But yeah, to answer what you we were talking about for Pat McAfee and his new team. Yeah, I mean, I like them both. I like all of them. You know, Pat. You know, he's a guy who's grown on me. You know, Oni and Danny Burch. I've always rated those guys. I've always thought they were a underrated tag team. I always hated seeing them lose, but at the same time, I always saw how much, or how over they got with the audience, and how much people wanted to see them win the titles. And Pete Dunne, well, you know me about Pete Dunne. I like Pete. I think he's one of the best youngsters. Excuse me, he's one of the best one of the best young guys to come into the sport, and really upped his game since coming up into NXT. How I feel about his character has always been the same. I feel that I've always liked him better as a heel than I did as a face. As far as the look goes, I always thought his looks a bit meh, but I'm not going to get into that. He looks great. He's cut some weight ever since he's come back. Obviously, he's looking the role right now. I do wish he wouldn't make the same facial expression every time I saw him, but I guess that's just how it's going to be. But that's fine. I can look past that. Well, try to look past that. What was I going to say? Yeah. So in terms of if I think that team could easily be the next biggest thing since Undisputed Era, I'm going to say yes as well to that.
And I think in the words as in Randy Orton about Pete Dunne, when Randy Orton was watching NXT UK and Pete Dunne come out, he goes, with everything that is going on, all I've got to say is Pete Dunne is jacked AF.
I remember he said that, yeah.
Good old Randy Orton watching us.
But I'd love to see that match. I'd love to see Randy versus Pete Dunne one day.
I'd love to see Randy in NXT.
I've said that myself.
Yeah.
I've said that myself, and I got some heat from not heat from one guy, but it was like, oh, I don't want to see that. It's just gonna be like Charlotte Flair. I'm like, why wouldn't you want to have an established veteran, a guy who's been with the business for 20 years, somebody who can teach the new guys, even some of the guys who are in NXT right now, some guys who, let's say, don't want to move on to the main roster. Why wouldn't you want to see a guy who's at the top of his, at the top of the freaking company, drop down and have matches with the new guys and show them how it's done on the mic, how it's done in the ring, where you can do a bit more of this, and why wouldn't you want that?
Yeah, that makes no sense to me. But let's move on.
To
Friday Night SmackDown.
Actually, wait, there was one thing I wanted to say. I forgot to mention. I don't know if you'll agree with me on it, but I will say, I feel it's a damn shame that we haven't that we won't be able to see this, but I would love to see it at some point. And that is what's my guy's name again? Yeah, obviously you know who the Cruiserweight champion is, yeah? Yeah, I feel like
Jordan Devlin. The proper Cruiserweight champion is Jordan Devlin.
I'm not going to get into that.
He won the title before.
I never said he isn't. I'm talking about the guy who's holding it right now, man.
Yeah, Escobar. Is it Escobar?
Yeah, Santos Escobar. I was going to say it's a damn shame that they're not including NXT on the Survivor Series thing.
Yeah.
Because I would have loved to have seen Santos versus Andrade. That would have been a hell of a match.
Yeah, but Santos isn't the proper Cruiserweight champion. Jordan Devlin is.
Once he gets rid of Devlin, then he will be all right.
He won't ever get rid of Devlin. Is the greatest. No one bets against the ace. Remember that.
I ain't got nothing against Devlin unless you're one of those people who want to bring up the whole, what thing. But
I'll tell you what. I watched. When I went to do the NXT UK, and when I went there and watched him, like Noam Dar got a bit of heat. There was no one, easily by far, no one that generated heat, as in anger in the crowd around me and in the arena than what Jordan Devlin did when he was talking, when he was near the fans, anything he did fans got but angry as in a way of not as in like, oh shit, all that. It was everyone respects him as a wrestler, but they just didn't like him as a person. But he really triggered you on that, and he
Apparently,
was excellent.
I've heard he got a "You're just a shit Finn Balor" chant or something like that once.
Oh yeah, he gets that all the time. And
Well,
I remember I watched this match. I would highly recommend. I can't remember where it was, but Walter was undefeated. In
yeah,
Ireland, in Ireland, in the promotion that Jordan Devlin does, and there was a match in Ireland between Devlin and Walter, and it got
right.
to a point at the end where everyone knows the winner. If you don't know the winner, I'm probably going to spoil it for you, but I want you to go and watch it. It was that nobody's pinned Walter at this point in Ireland, and Jordan Devlin went 1-on-1 and pinned him. And I mean, the ring got stormed with fans hugging him. The amount of emotion I haven't seen that much emotion from fans in a wrestling ring for a very, very long time. And when I watched that, you were so invested in it that Jordan Devlin, I think, is one of the most underrated talents in WWE
I've
at the
always
moment.
thought he was good myself. To be fair, I mean, I think
And that's why he's the proper cruiserweight champion, not that
yeah,
stupid.
I think he's a great champion as well. It's just a damn shame that he had to have his name brought up in the whole
Yeah.
you know what thing. And
But
uh,
at the same time, what we will say is on this podcast as well, is we do not judge anyone. Not the podcast, on this show, is we do not judge anyone. We do not say anything about whatever gets said in public. All we can do is say this has been untrolled truths. This is what's been said.
exactly,
But
yeah,
at the same time, what we will say as well at the same time is everybody is innocent until proven guilty.
I agree with that as well. But
But
you know what
that's
it
just
is.
for everyone listening at home. We will have an opinion, what we think, but at the same time, everyone is innocent until proven guilty.
I mean,
That's it.
as I still find it hard to talk about Velveteen Dream as well because I still think he was one of the most talented guys as well. But at the same time, it's a damn shame what has come out with it. And you know, like the sad thing about the ugly truth about his case is that we'll never know for sure what's happened there because there, there's a lot of this and that, and you know what, and it's just like you know what I mean. It just ruined everything. Really, that's the thing.
The issue with that for me is I understand what people were saying about
Mm.
that situation. I get it. But at the same time, you can't fire someone if there's no concrete evidence. The only evidence that you'll get is one person said to another.
Yeah,
And that's the one issue I think fans have is because one, there was no talking about it beforehand. He just turned up on telly after everything. I think NXT handled it very wrong with what they
I
did.
will say this. I will say this. The way I've always seen it, and you might say I'm wrong about this, but the way I will always see it is if they weren't confident in that the guy's innocent, if they weren't sure, you know, if they weren't basically if they the way I see it is that if they weren't sure about if the guy had done it or not, or if he was not worth it, they wouldn't have put him on TV full stop. So the way I see it is, people are forgetting WWE, you know, and when I'm talking about NXT, I'm talking about WWE in a whole. Yeah, they're not good. Yeah, they're a global company. You know, they've got investors, you know, from all over all over the world and this and that. Do you think they really want to risk losing investors, you know, by having that kind of publicity, having that kind of publicity? And, you know, when you look at the Chris Benoit case, the minute they saw that, they completely moved away from it. You know, took away any involvement from it. It basically removed any anything to do with Chris Benoit from their company.
Mhm.
So my point is, what I'm trying to say is that if they weren't sure about it, they would if they weren't sure about it, they wouldn't be keeping him on TV like nothing happened.
Exactly.
So it's the same thing with Austin Theory as well. He got his name called out as well, but the, they've had him back on TV, and if you look at his Instagram, you'll see he's still got all the people on the NXT locker room following him and liking his stuff. And if he wasn't innocent, one, he wouldn't be keeping his social media up, and two, people wouldn't be allowed. He wouldn't be letting people drop comments on his posts. So I don't know, man. I think that there are some things which might be a little bit. People might be taking a little bit too far at this point, but at the end of the day, I just look at the performers anyway in the ring. I don't look at the
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Right, let's move on
Sure,
to Friday Night SmackDown. We're going to do a little bit of a chat, but what we're going to do is after this little chat about the Friday Night SmackDown, is in this we're going to be doing a Survivor Series predictions where it'll be me versus Gulam, and what we're going to do is we're going to see who gets the most. The winner, I hope. Might have just dropped my controller. Anyway, the winner.
Oh God.
Yeah, I'm just gonna rest that here. This baby right here. Yeah.
It's a good thing that's the World Heavyweight title. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Kiss it. Oh, COVID. I need to disinfect it afterwards. So yeah. So whoever wins gets the title, except Gulam needs to go by his own because I can't ship it because it's mine. But we will have whoever wins. So the games that we're going to do from now on, I've just made this up on the spot, and Gulam has no idea what I'm about to say, so this is going to be quite fun. What we're going to do is if you win if you win the predictions, you get the most. You have to wear your title in every single show up until the next show, up until the next prediction. And then whoever wins gets to wear it the most. So if I win, I have to wear this bad boy in every single show just to brag it in that I'm better than him, up until the next prediction to see who wins.
Oh God.
But I'm going to win, so it's fine. So,
well, all that confidence, I guess.
Oh, I'm so confident. It's unreal. I am the more confident than Bray Wyatt is against the Undertaker. So
the
storyline.
I'm pretty sure he thought he was going to win.
Yeah, I know. Storyline that you want to talk about: Buddy Murphy and Rey Mysterio, the Mysterio storyline.
I just think it's. I'll be honest with you. I'm not really that bothered about it as much as many people are making out on social media. They're all like, "Oh, it's stupid and whatnot." And to be honest with you, I don't think it's that bad as we make it out to be.
I like it.
I mean, I'm not saying I like it either. I mean, I
do. I like it.
It just makes me laugh, and the way I see it, it's like I'm glad they went with that direction rather than with the whole ridiculous, "Oh, he's your brother or he's your real father" kind of thing. I think that would have been bullshit, really, to be honest, for lack of a better term. And the way I see it, like,
so I'm going to ask you this question, and I want to ask you this. So it's come out that WWE are planning, according to might change and might go, that Buddy Murphy and Aaliyah, thank you, they might be doing a WWE wedding.
Yeah.
Right. So I saw someone write this. I can't remember who it is. I can't give credit, so I do apologize. But if someone finds who the person wrote it, let them know that I think this is an excellent idea. Okay, so the first thing is before I explain what I would like to happen, do you think that's a good idea?
I don't.
It's becoming the classic WWE.
I know, but the thing is, though, like, I think they could have really avoided going that direction. But I suppose that it makes sense because Buddy's like 30 years old, and Aaliyah's not exactly, he's only 19, but that's still legal age to get married anyway. So I suppose it makes sense considering the fact that
I can remember her when she first came on, when she was
I still remember when she came on TV and she had CM Punk interrupting her birthday.
Yeah.
That was an interesting one. No, I mean, what I'm saying is that I don't really think it's that bad a deal. I suppose it's logical in some sense, but because in real life, Buddy would want to get married.
So this is the thing I want to talk to you about, right? So I saw someone put this, and someone put, why not plan this out? Why not have Buddy win a title before she gets married, right? So like the IC title or tag titles, get him paired with someone, win the tag titles, and then
just not Dominic, please.
So and then no, Dominic's not involved or anything like that yet. So what they do is they go, he wins the title, big family, love it, everything's good, everything's going well with each other, love each other, blah 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 blah. And then it comes to a wedding with him as, let's say, a tag title, right, with his tag partner or his single title that he's got on his own. Wedding comes. They're both standing there on the altar, or in WWE terms, in the ring, because always in the ring for some reason. And there's always one rope that's never there. Always one side of the ring that's never there, but the other. Anyway,
Yeah. I know
always
what
the other three is there, but there's just one side that just isn't. Right?
Yeah.
Right? And he says, yeah, I do. Oh, they could do a man. Anyway, and he says, I do. And then she goes, no, kicks him in the balls. Dominic and Rey Mysterio turn heel, beat him up to a pulp, and then they win the tag titles, or Dominic wins his first single title by becoming a heel on it, and then he grows and goes on and on and on. Or they can play this long term, where I'm thinking really long term, where Dominic or Ray have money in the bank.
Okay.
Right, one of them has the money in the bank contract. This has never happened, but this is when my mind gets really creative now. So Dominic or Rey Mysterio have money in the bank. Buddy Murphy wins the world title, the Universal or WWE title off whoever. They have a wedding, kick in the balls, cash it in, win the title, fucks off.
Okay.
That's another way of playing the money in the bank, where kick it, and then they become the Mysterio heel club, where she will, and then Dominic. I think Dominic will get. I love Dominic at the moment. I think he's excellent.
I can't. You already know how I feel about Dominic, so I don't really want to get into that one.
No, but I think Dominic has got a massive future, and I think the way that he's learning at the moment is
I think he's got a good future as well. I just wish he'd hit the gym more. That's all. But
you can say that about Rey Mysterio as well.
Ray's in great shape, man. He's come back. He came back in the great best. I'm just saying that I wish Dominic took that as well, and because I look at a guy like I struggle to take a guy like him seriously when you're putting him in the ring with a Buddy Murphy or a Seth Rollins.
Yeah, but to be fair, Buddy Murphy is a freak of nature.
But that's my point, is that you got to being tall isn't enough. You got to fill up your frame and everything. That's what I'm trying to. That's all I ever say. And I'm not saying that means you have to hit the weights heavier. I'm saying that just means you got to do something with the program. Just start building yourself up that way. But yeah, aside from all that, I do think you'd have a great future. I just wish you'd change his physical look. That's all.
And maybe. But I think if he with Rey Mysterio as well, and I think the best thing for him at the moment is to be around player like Seth Rollins and be like Rey Mysterio, but with Rey Mysterio as in non-dad Mysterio, as in wrestler Mysterio, and you can see how things mechanically work and do things like that. And I think it's a good idea. But I think
what I'm saying is, when I look at Dominic, I'm like, I'd rather they push a Angel Garza over him. I'd rather they push Andrade over him. I'd rather they push Humberto Carrillo over him. I think those are guys who are ready for the spot that he's in. That's what I'd say. But what I'm trying to say.
I agree with you, but I really like Dominic Mysterio and I really love Rey. And Rey's one of my great. So title on the line.
Okay,
I'm gonna do this wrestling style. Got the flat. There we go. Title on the line. Here we go. Survivor Series. Here we go. First one that we've got up is the SmackDown Women's Champion versus the Raw Women's Champion. We've got Sasha Banks versus Asuka. Who's going to win?
Yeah.
Right. Before you answer, one thing. Right. So I know where this is going to go with half of this stuff. Is we've got to take our personal opinion out and what we think could happen.
But I still think Asuka anyway, so I'm still going with Asuka.
Okay, so do I. So I think Asuka's going to win that as well. So we're both going with Asuka. Okay, Team Raw Women's versus Team SmackDown. On Team Raw is Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, Mandy Rhodes, Dana Brooke, and Lana versus SmackDown. When we're recording this, they've still got 2 spots open by the time we record this, so it might change. So on SmackDown, it's Bianca Belair, Ruby Riott, and Liv Morgan.
This will be interesting. Oh man, I mean, I'd like to think SmackDown will win because they got Bianca and everything, but at the same time, it's hard to tell. I think actually, no wait, I think there's going to be some dissension in Team Raw because they're already building up, the tension between Nia and Shayna as well, but also with Mandy, Dana. With Mandy, Dana, and Lana in the mix. So I feel that someone of the other is going to cost Team Raw the victory in that one. So I think it'll be Team SmackDown winning that one.
Okay, then I'm going to go for Team Raw because
fair
I
enough.
think they're building to a lone survivor Lana to win it.
I think that'd be a good idea, really. I mean,
Because
I feel
if you look at it, the way that I'm looking at it, and I saw someone tweet this, and that's why the reason I'm going with it is I saw someone say it was they're making Lana look weaker and weaker in the group. Then they're going to propel her, and that's the one thing I can see happening is she's been through a table 9 times.
I feel so bad for her. I
don't.
Really?
But at the same time, I think it'll be cool. I think she needs to make Morrow or Rusev, however you want to, not talk about WWE, because if she wants to grow in this, how bitter Vince is about other people. So other people talk about him, he will go, you will lose your chance. So for her, I think she needs to fully concentrate now on being herself in WWE, and I think she can do it because she's a very good heel. And I would like to see how she works herself as a babyface, how she really does work. And I would like to see how she does it. So for me, I'm going Team Raw.
I'd just like to see her change her theme song and maybe a few other things, but I think she's pretty much got the tools to be a star. It's just
and here we go. The main one, I would say main one. Team Raw men's versus Team SmackDown men. On the Team Raw, we've got AJ Styles, Keith Lee, Sheamus, Braun Strowman, and Matt Riddle versus the Team SmackDown, which has got Kevin Owens, Jey Uso, King Corbin, Seth Rollins, and someone to be confirmed.
Shall I go with this one?
Yeah.
I'm going with Team Raw on this one.
Do you know what? I think I might agree with you on that, but I don't want to keep copying you, so I might go for the other.
No, because the way I see it, there's two. If you look at the guys who are on Team Raw, you got Keith Lee, you got Matt Riddle, or Riddle as they're calling him now, and obviously they want to build these guys up to the next level, and Vince is high on those two particularly as well. So I, think that'll be the perfect way to get those guys onto the next level. And when you look at the guys who are on Team SmackDown, I think it'll do the biggest guy who'll benefit from that loss will be Jay, because then that gives Roman something to keep pushing him on. Yeah, that makes sense, because he'll be like, oh, you've disappointed me, you let down this family kind of thing. So they can keep playing on with that and keep you know what I'm trying to say.
You know what? I think you've got a point with that, and that's why I'm going to go with Team SmackDown. Right? Because the way I wouldn't go with them, but because the storyline with Jey Uso, if he wins it, of going back to Roman and going,
I did it.
The only one in the family that can do it. And I think it'd be interesting to see as well with Jimmy comes back as well, how they do that. Do you know what? I'm loving the Roman Reigns, Jey Uso.
I love it too. I've said it so many times. I wish Jimmy was there, because they could literally be on the next. Don't want to sound cliche, but they could be on the next chapter right now of this whole thing, and they could really be forming the whole
the best
bloodline thing.
The best quote. I don't know whether you watch Friday Night SmackDown. The best quote, right? The best quote I heard was when Drew McIntyre come out, and we'll talk about that match in a minute going on.
I think I know what you're going to say.
Out, and Roman goes, "I don't even watch Raw," and Paul Heyman in the background just goes, "You're not missing much." I thought that was excellent. So I'm going to have to write this down. I should have wrote this down before. Hold on.
You can just watch us over again, and then you can just do it.
I know I can do, but I never watch over what I edit. I know. So I've got a piece of paper here. I'm going to write it down because I'm old school. So first one, women's title. We're both going for Raw.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And then SmackDown women's, the women's Survivor Series match, Raw versus SmackDown.
I said SmackDown.
You said SmackDown, didn't you?
Yeah.
So you're going for that. I'm going to put a G next to you. I'm going to put M. I'm going for Raw. The
Okay.
third match was the men's team
Raw.
Raw versus SmackDown. Who you go for? And who you went for Raw, didn't you?
Raw. Yeah.
And I went for SmackDown.
Yep. And actually, I think I'd also like to add, I think I can see Keith Lee being the one that gives them the victory as well.
yeah,
Because
if Raw win, Keith Lee will be the lone survivor. If SmackDown win, Jey Uso will win it.
shall I tell you why as well?
Go on.
Because I remember last year when it came down to him and Roman.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely thinking that if Keith is still the guy that they want to push, it's going to be Keith that's going to be the guy that is the final one standing there, and maybe Riddle before him as well, before Matt gets eliminated. But it's definitely going to be, in my opinion, I can see Keith being the guy that gives Raw the victory, and that's what builds up his momentum heading into WrestleMania season.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, then Bobby Lashley, Raw United States Champion versus Sami Zayn, the WWE SmackDown Intercontinental Champion.
Let me just say, I do love both guys on that. But that said, I really didn't want to see them going at it again, because it's another case of like we've seen them do it before, and it just looks like, I don't see Lashley losing to Sami even as a heel. So
you're going Bobby Lashley?
Yeah, I'm going Bobby Lashley. It's the logical win. So it's just going to be Sami. Yeah,
I'm going Sami Zayn. The reason why I'm going Sami Zayn is because I think the work that he's doing at the moment, the way that he's coming up, where he's winning, but he's sneakily doing it, I think that's how they'll do it. I think Sami Zayn will win that. Right.
And let me add as well, Booker T recently said he's his number one pick who he'd be building company around right now.
Yeah, same. I think Sami Zayn is absolutely incredible.
100%, yeah.
I think I absolutely agree with. I don't normally agree with Booker T stuff.
I wish he was holding. I wish he was holding the 2 IC titles. To be honest, that's what I would have done with him. I would have kept holding 2 IC titles.
Yeah. Okay. Then Street Profit, SmackDown Tag Team titles versus Raw Tag Team titles. Street Profit, Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford versus Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. Who you got?
I'm loving the build-up for this feud. That said, I'd love to see Street Profits win this one. Those are my guys I'm picking.
You'll go Street Profit. I am going for a New Day win. The reason why I'm going for, and I was going to pick New Day anyway before. The reason why I'm going for a New Day win is if you watch SmackDown, Street Profits keep going and winding up Big E about the New Day. Yeah. I can see Big E interfering, and getting the win for his friends in the New Day, or
yeah,
he can flip it and cost New Day. I think New Day will. I think he will come out and get Street Profits to win, and then maybe they bring the faction out of them 3 together, or Street Profits will win. But I think Big E will play a big part in this match.
That's funny you should say that, because I don't know if obviously you must have been watching SmackDown then.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember when after that, when Big E was leaving that segment, if you saw the reaction from Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins, you saw a change in their face.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that hints a heel turn from them. And I'm just like, if those guys turn heel, I reckon they'd be an interesting heel tag team.
Especially Angelo Dawkins as well, because he was a heel before. When he first come into WWE.
I've said this numerous times though. If there's a guy that will be a future star in this business, and if it's not in this company, it will be in another company. I'll tell you that right now. It is going to be Montez Ford.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
He has got all the tools.
He is the Shawn Michaels of today.
I mean, I wouldn't say Shawn Michaels.
He's selling his moveset the way he is.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see when Cesaro threw him? How high that man flew?
I don't know about you, but when I first saw him performing in the ring, I was like, has this guy come from the Indies by any chance? Because his stuff that he does in the ring is so impressive, and it astounds me how nobody ever credits his skills in the ring as being a WWE talent, done from just their performance center. It amazes me how no one ever credits that from being trained in the freaking performance center.
Yep.
Imagine if he was doing that and then building on that in the Indies, people would be jumping on his bandwagon even more.
Okay.
I think he has got all the tools to be a big star. That's what I'm going to say. And I feel like what I can see after I'll say in the next few couple of years or so, I can see him turning in the singles role soon. I actually think that.
I'm just getting my Bray Wyatt ready because I know I'm going to win this.
Okay.
When we record this is the Monday, so it is the day of the morning of the Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre WWE title, which happens tonight. So we're gonna try and predict it. It could be interesting.
Okay.
Randy Orton or Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns.
Well, I think Randy's retaining the title tonight anyway, and it'll be
Really after Drew turned up on SmackDown.
I think I don't see Drew winning the title just like that. I think it's going to be Randy retaining the title, and then it'll be Randy versus Roman.
God, I tell you what.
Huh?
A match that could be, even with Drew versus Roman. This match, I think could steal the night.
I think it'll be Randy versus. I think it's gonna be Randy versus Roman, and I don't see. I don't know. It's hard to pick. I don't know if I see Randy losing, but I don't see Roman losing either. So it might have an interference.
You can't be calling interference. You've got to say.
No, I don't want to say that.
None of that.
I probably shouldn't say that, but I could see that happening as well. But oh, man, I think Roman's winning, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if Randy got the victory. But I don't see Roman losing either.
Okay, right. You've just said both people are going to win. You're still sitting on that fence.
Okay. I apologize. That was a bit of a shitty answer. I apologize.
I'm going first. You're taking too long. I'm going for a Roman win.
Okay, I'm going for Roman as well.
Perfect. We'll go for a Roman win. Right. Before we go, this is not a prediction. This is just to have a bit of a fun end to the show. Undertaker is officially retiring.
So they say.
Will be officially retiring after 30 years at Survivor Series. This week on BT Sport, if anyone's got it, they're doing a week-long Undertaker where they'll show previous matches, what he's done great, new shows that hasn't been released, that's going to be released exactly the same time on the WWE Network. It's going straight onto BT Sport as well. So I would highly recommend. I'm going to be binge watching BT Sport this week, I think. Because I love Undertaker. Undertaker's the only person. I'll tell you a little story. I'm not going to go too long because I know that we've held a lot of you guys for a long time, but I want to tell a little story. So when I was very, very little, when I was around about 5 or 6, when I first started getting into wrestling, we used to have to DVR it. If you don't know what DVR is we used to have to record it on this tape recorder type of thing. And
I think you mean VCR.
That's the one. VCR, yeah. DVR's American, isn't it?
DVR is basically like a skybox.
Oh, is it? Oh, I don't
know. Yeah.
So we used to have to record it, and my mum hated wrestling and still does. When I put it on, she moans all the time. But there was this one character that when we used to sit in the living room, my mum used to have to watch it with me, blah, 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 blah. It was at the start of the Attitude Era, so my mum definitely had to sit there and watch it with me. After looking back on it now, they got away with some of the stuff. We used to sit there and the dong, you know, at the start of his music goes off, and I used to run and hide behind the sofa because I was scared. He's the only person, the only character or anything that's ever made me scared of someone but believing them at the same time. For me, he is the greatest wrestler, maybe not wrestler, but greatest character and wrestler of all time. Nobody can do what he did for 30 years. No one.
100%, 100%. I'm gonna be the opposite though. I've never been scared of Undertaker. Like
I was shit scared.
every time I heard his dong, every time I heard the gong go off, I would literally get like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pumped.
I used to get pumped and go, ah, fuck.
No, it never scared me. I never was scared of Kane either, for that matter. I was always like, every time I saw him ring, I was like, shit's gonna go down, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, that's
So
how I always was.
my farewell prediction for Undertaker, what I would like to see happen is Undertaker, and I want it to be cinematic. I don't want it to be boring because there's going to be fans there. There's no fans there, so the Thunderdome, so they can make it cinematic as they want.
Yeah.
I would like the Undertaker to come out on the old school and then go back, or something happens and he turns up as the American badass and then comes back as the dead man again, but then finish off as the Boneyard Taker when he beat AJ Styles to bury him alive. I would like to see an appearance. I'm also hearing that his old school gang is making an appearance as well.
Yeah.
Kane will probably make an appearance. But
Well,
do you know how I want it to finish off? Is I want the Fiend to come out and make him rest in peace. And then he's gone. And then there's a character layer now to the Fiend that can go, the Fiend has now rested the Undertaker forever.
No, that's not bad. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if I'm just one of the guys who always says this because I just like to think that things. Excuse me. What was I gonna say? Yeah. When you said that it's gonna take us farewell, I was like, is that what it's saying now? Is it? So the reason why I say that is because I never trust it whenever they say it that way. Because this is WWE we're talking about. Mm-hmm. They can easily do the big swerve out of nowhere and be like, oh, we got you there. He's still coming back and this and that kind of thing. Because the way I've always seen it is he never really said he's retired.
He said it. He said it to someone.
No, but I'm saying was that he always, if you remember when he was saying on his documentary, his exact words were, if they ever need me, I'll always be there to give them an extra hand, kind of thing. Like, so to me, when the minute you say that, I'm just always like, I don't know if he's done just yet. I think he's still going to be, like, to me, you can always be retired, but still come in whenever they need you to do like the brief appearances kind of thing. I don't see him as being like Rick. Oh yeah, and another thing I think people forgot is that he signed a 15-year contract as well, not long ago as well. So I doubt that he's going to be done just yet.
No, I think the 15-year contract is for him to work behind the scenes with Triple H.
I don't know.
There's a conversation. I've read a lot of articles, and I've also heard as well of Taker talking in an interview that he's sitting down with Triple H, and they're going to be discussing about him doing stuff in NXT or doing stuff behind the scenes, because
but that's my point, is they can easily, they can still easily bring him out as a character, as an on-screen character at any time. That's the way I look at it.
I don't think they will though with him. I think with him, because I think he said as well, when he's done, he's done. He doesn't want to do what he doesn't want to come back and do. And I think that thing throughout the documentary as well was.
I think this might be because I'm the selfish fan in me, but I just don't think he's 100% done just yet. But like I said, we'll have to wait and see. It's one of those.
That's why I said I want the Fiend to finish it, because I saw him say that the one thing he wished was that the Fiend character come a heck of a lot sooner, because he wants to work with Bray Wyatt and the Fiend. And I think that would be the perfect, because if you think about it, all of Undertaker's career has gone rest in peace, and he's put people to rest, and he's put people to sleep, and he's done stuff. Then when he goes out, why doesn't it get someone to come in to put him to rest? Put him into a coffin, into one of his coffins that he likes.
Well, they've done that before, and it always came back after.
Yeah. But then take it to where it takes it to the Fiend's yard and buries it alive, like the Undertaker did to him. So there's so much you can do with the ending of the character, the Undertaker, where he doesn't have to come back or do anything.
I mean, I remember when they buried AJ in that match, and I was
just turned up on Raw.
I was more annoyed that they didn't change AJ's character around a little bit. Okay. I mean, as in change his look at least a little bit. I mean, because I don't know about you, but I'm kind of tired of AJ's Jesus look he's got going on right now.
I'll tell you what, I'm really liking AJ's new manager.
Oh yeah, you mean Bodyguard Jordan? Yeah. Can't pronounce his last name.
That has a Shawn Michaels, Kevin Nash.
Yeah, I'll tell you what made me laugh and shock me at the same time. is when I found out how old that guy is.
How old is he?
He's only 1 year younger than us.
Oh, fuck off.
Yeah.
He's 26.
Yeah.
Oh my lord, he's going to be around for fucking ever.
I remember when I saw him like in that role with AJ, I was like, this guy would have been so perfect for the Bullet Club in New Japan. That's what I'm going to say with him. He's got the bodyguard look, down to a T. And I was actually checking out him in the ring the other day at an NXT event. Him versus one of my old guys, Cesar Bononi, if you remember him. And huh?
Which one did you say? Sorry.
So I don't know if you remember that when NXT he got released when they were doing the cuts. It was Cesar Bononi.
Oh yeah,
Brazilian guy. Yeah, he's another guy who I rated as well. I felt they could have done more with him. Long story short, I remember I saw him in the ring with him. One, he made him look like a child in the ring. That's how big he is. And two, he actually moves around fairly well for a big man his size. And people.
He's 7'3".
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I've googled him while you're talking. I've googled him.
He's a former basketball player. My point, what I'm saying is that a guy his size, he moves around fairly well, and he doesn't have to do a lot in the ring, and he can still get a reaction fairly well. Obviously, it just depends which fan base you target him at, but yeah, I think
he looks like a fucking monster. Jesus Christ!
I can see them making money off him at some point.
Easily.
That's what I'm gonna say.
A 7'3" absolute beast. Jesus, Mary upon.
Yeah.
Right, and that's it. So what we're going to do is next week when we come and do this episode, after we have watched Survivor Series, is we're going to go through the results of what we think, what we're going to talk about. We're going to mainly talk about that episode as Survivor Series. We're just going to review it, what we think of it, and where we think things will go from there.
So what do you think is in store?
Oh, I don't know. Do you know what I can see happening as well? Okay, this is going to be a long shot. Is I think whoever wins between Roman... Okay, I think if Roman wins, we both predicted Roman to win. I think whoever goes up again is going to get an absolute beating and Miz will cash in.
I almost forgot Miz has still got the Money in the Bank. Ah, man. Yeah, I can see Miz cashing in before the end of the year. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. I've also seen a lot of storylines that Miz is going to cash in, but he'll lose it at some point to Randy before WrestleMania. Edge is going to win the Royal. Edge is going to win the Royal Rumble. As well, and then it's going to be, and then at WrestleMania it's going to be Randy versus Edge for the WWE Championship.
How much do you want to bet Edge is actually in the clear, but he's just been playing it down for some time to keep him, fucking everything.
Probably.
I have a feeling that he never got it. I think he might have had an injury, but not as bad as they made it out to be. But they decided because they want to be careful with him, they might just be doing team off TV.
And I also can see as well, if it's not Edge that wins the Royal Rumble, it'll be Big E, and I think Big E versus Roman at WrestleMania.
Man, Big E, in my opinion, at this point, they've got to push on Big E now because, to me, he's ready for that big push.
Yeah, and I think they will. I think they've noticed that. That's why he's now on his own, and that's why New Day are now on Raw, where they let Big E not have the background of Xavier or Kofi.
Do you think they should have had Big E split from the New Day himself as a heel?
No, because they've got so much more they could do with it, with that still lingering around.
I mean, I like them as well, but I just feel like they've got a bit boring at this point. And I feel they could at least have one return.
If you think about it as well, if they keep them together, if Big E does turn heel on his own, and he's losing a world title fight or he's losing something, you still could have that outside interference of them two to still help him. And that will build his character more, saying, well, I didn't ask him there on Raw. I'm on SmackDown. What are you guys on about?
Okay, yeah, that's true as well.
And they can do that. Anyway, we could discuss all of that next time. But thank you guys ever so much for watching this Robbos Gobcast sports show. We will be back for you guys tomorrow, where we will be discussing Formula One, where we will get into that. We will be back with the NFL and another Reading and Foot Premier League build-up this week as well. 5 days a week now. You guys will be getting content from us on YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere. And I think that's about it. For you guys, go and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Go and follow us on Facebook. We like to do little chats and little talks about that as well. We also update everyone through that as well. Twitter, we're always on there and talking. Instagram as well. We always release all of the new stuff that we do as well on Instagram. And we also DM you all as well. I have done before as well, and ask you why you follow us and what we can do better to get you guys to help us out and grow a little bit more. But thank you guys ever so much for watching. We will see you guys for the next wrestling podcast with Survivor Series next week. Bye.
See ya.
Bye. Oh, time to say goodbye.
Oh, God.